Welcome to Top 5 Solo Games. I'm J. Allen Riker, horror author and solo board game fanatic. And today we are doing an opening of the Catharsis standalone expansion Divine Wrath. So, if you've been following my reviews at all, you know that I've been unboxing a new game, reviewing a new game, unboxing a new game, reviewing a new game, and I've been having some trouble with them to the point where they've been hanging out on my table, and it's actually kind of been keeping me from playing. So, like, I had complex reaction to Dark Venture, I had a complex reaction to Ashes Reborn, Red Reigns. And I was like, I need to just play a game that I know I like, that I know I'm going to sit down and have fun with. Yeah, I want to keep opening new games and showing them to you guys, especially when a hot game comes in, something from Kickstarter that doesn't have much. I want to get it out there. And luckily, this is the best of both worlds, because I already know that I love Catharsis. I already own a bunch of it, but I get to show you the new stuff that just came in. So I'm going to show you first what I already own. And that is this bad boy. So when the Divine Wrath expansion Kickstarter launched, I liked the look of it, but I wanted to try it out before backing it. So I actually ordered this. Now, they did a re-release of the original Catharsis in a more normal-sized box, along with the expansion that we're going to look at today. But I knew that if I liked Catharsis, that this box, even though big, first of all, I do have a shelf that stands this tall. And second of all, will let me store everything within it. So I decided to try this out. I got it. I loved it. It's basically like an adventure game with a boss at the end. It's not, I wouldn't describe it quite as a boss battler, even though that's kind of what it looks like. It's like you go on this adventure. You don't know what order things are going to pop up in, because it's a non-linear sort of narrative. Each adventure has its own mechanics that can be completely different, and that's one thing that I really love about it. And so I enjoyed all of that, but then the other thing that I enjoyed is that this is the most fun implementation of Yahtzee mechanics that I have played. Definitely one of my very top ones. So I got it, really enjoyed it, and decided that, yeah, indeed, I was going to back the new Kickstarter to get more of it. I didn't quite go all in. You know me, it's just not my style. I always go a la carte, even if I'm getting a lot of stuff. I do wish, so I one thing that I found, some people were saying that it takes up too much space and it's too mentally taxing to play two of these heroes. And I played two of them and found that it does strain the outer limits of my ability to remember the board state, all of the abilities that I have at hand, but it allows you to create these synergies with characters that otherwise aren't necessarily the strongest head to head. So I tried with two, and I did enjoy that aspect of it. Now, there are these powers that let you use two, they give you a superpower when you share a card between the two heroes. And I wish that I had the duo powers cards for the first one, and I could have bought it at the time of this, and I should have, but I do have the duo power cards for this next batch. So let's go ahead and see what we've got. We've got Catharsis. That's the big new standalone. So you can buy just this and play the game. Move some of the light so it's not 100% glare from every angle. What do you say? Okay, I got Catharsis Sagas Chapter 3, Bewildered. Now this comes with one character and one boss, and it can be played right out of the box as a standalone solo experience. As long as you get six-sided dice, you can play this. So this actually is also standalone, although it's the mix and match aspect, you know, that spreadsheet gaming that I love, where you want to try every character, put them through every adventure against every boss. And I also got Catharsis Sagas Chapter 4, Dread. This is some kind of insane dragon in the background. Look at that. So wild. So and should have reviewed this before starting this video, but it's too late now. I think that maybe these were I don't know if these were the stretch goals or not. It's a Catharsis Megapack. So this comes with 3 decks, 11 champions, 36 duo powers. So that it's 36 because you have a team up between 2 of the characters, between each pairing of the 6 characters. And then also, I guess, these extras, 30 Tinkerer powers and 50 tokens. So we'll get to this. This is kind of interesting. These are not full-fledged characters. They are like assistant characters. So I'm excited to try that out. I wonder if I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it makes me wonder if that would be a way to get that synergy going without quite as much overhead. Because when you have 12 ability cards out at once, it is a lot to keep track of. Okay, well, that is enough of an opening, right? Let's go ahead and start opening. First we'll take a look at some of this. I don't want to read you the whole thing because it'd be a lot. It's a little narrative. It's in character here. From Gauze, World Champion Wrestler. That one, that really got me. That's her. She's like an orc professional wrestler, doing an atomic elbow drop there off the top rope. So cool. That's absolutely my sort of thing. Divine Wrath is a standalone expansion to Catharsis. This game contains everything you need to play the game either by yourself or with up to 4 other players. Each hero has a unique deck of powers and mechanics that they bring to the adventure. Assemble your party and face one of the 5 different boss decks, each with their own mechanics and challenges. So like I said, they're called boss decks, but of the ones that I played, I only remember one where the boss was like constantly attacking you throughout. It was an assassin, and as you chased the assassin through the forest, she would pop up and attack you, if I remember correctly. Most of them, you're going through an adventure, and then you do face off against a really tough boss at the end of that. Really thick. You can see, I think, by the way it's not crumpling. Very, very thick shrink wrap. Okay, this is a very deep box. That usually means a lot of vacuum. So yeah, there's a better image of that dragon that looks kind of like Santa Claus times reindeer as an ancient abomination. So you can see just from right here that they took note because they caught so much flack for that giant box, even though I gotta say I'm happy to have it because I will fit everything into it. But here, instead of having the vac form, they have provided dividers instead, which is actually really nice. Instead of vac form separators. So these are I guess, the baddies. You've got the Ice Elf Lich, 100-eyed dragon. That's a really cool looking creature. Luthia, a murder mystery. Undercity crab. Okay, and here the Gauze, that's a hero. Calixia. Battle of Fate. So you can see, I really love the art on this. It's like, I'm assuming that they're digital paintings. I actually think that I did see the process of one, and yes, they are digital paintings. These have a ton of character, and sometimes digital paintings, like if I'm thinking of the Eon's End art for the humans, I don't end up loving it. It's too smooth looking. I like a lot of the art for the Nemesis, but this looks like painting to me. I really enjoy that. It has a lively looking quality to it. Not lifelike, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it looks like it could be real. Okay, here we have some counters that are universal counters. Nice thick cardstock. KPT, combo, burn, flight, KPT, universal counter. I tend to just use cubes and stuff, combo, burn, to mark these instead of messing with tokens like that. We'll have to see what they're used for. I don't remember ever using any tokens in the other one. I don't know that I got any in the other one. Okay, so what do we have? Okay, so here are some life tracker boards. I will just, these are so nice that I'm tempted to see how they're wrapped, and they're extremely heavy cardboard. Like, I usually would use like a dial for this, but I might be tempted to use this. So these are the heroes here, I think. Huh. Okay. Let's take a look at some of these cards. Now, the thing is that these cards don't have like a bunch of art on them. They have a lot of text on them. And I do enjoy this. It's card by card. And so this is the introduction. Let's look at the introduction for this boss. Battling the Arctic winds, each step feels like defiance against Mother Nature. The frozen wilderness whispers a harsh truth. These lands were never meant for the likes of you. Doubt creeps in, urging a retreat, but a promise to the village binds you, a vow to purge corruption staining their lands. As the cold tightens its grip, threatening to snatch your last breath, a glimmer of hope emerges, a mansion in the distance. You arrive at the door, but before you can knock, the door swings open, revealing a gnome. His eyes twinkle with mischief. "Ah, a visitor," he exclaims with a chuckle. "It's been ages since anyone alive ventured into these lovely lands, besides the ice elves, and Santa Claus, of course." You look at each other skeptically, but who are you to turn down heat? The gnome ushers you inside, his hospitality already warming your hearts. He shows off his cooking skills, crafting a feast that exceeds all expectations. Each bite is so flavorful, filled with spices, yet you don't question how he has access to spices. Some of them from tropical climes. Here in the frozen north, as you savor the remarkable meal, the gnome listens eagerly to your tales of heroism, absorbing the warmth of your words. "Oh, so you are real heroes. That's so cool, if you'll pardon the pun. I always wanted to be a hero." You're not sure what pun he's referring to, but you go along happily with the conversation. Satisfied and grateful, you bid the gnome farewell. He thanks you for breaking the monotony of his isolated existence, his eyes gleaming with mystery. Stepping back into the biting cold, you can't shake the feeling that the gnome's presence was more than mere chance. Continuing through the blizzard, the pain of the cold is interrupted by an unsettling sight. In the distance, a humanoid figure emerges, lifeless. Puppet-like strings dangle from its head, propelling it forward. The blizzard, the gnome, and now this zombie. What is going on? So, I have no idea what's going on. We take a look at these cards. like I was saying, the game has beautiful art, but it doesn't have a lot of art. It has a lot of flavor text. Now, on later plays, you can usually skip a lot of it. Like anything over this, you don't actually have to read. I know that's not very much compared. So set up frost counters. The cold bites, unrelenting and merciless. Every moment, every action, every breath, all work to sap away your heat. Without warmth, soon freezing to death will be your inevitable fate. Effect. Gain each effect as you accumulate frost counters. Lose an effect when you have fewer frost counters than its threshold. So 2. One of your powers remains exhausted when spending 3 KPT to refresh. 4. Set aside one of your powers. 5. You have 1 fewer reroll each round. 7. Set aside one of your dice. 9. Set aside a second power. So that sounds absolutely miserable. So here are the endings. We're not going to go over the endings. Okay, setup, kill point tokens, setup deck. And here we have a bunch of monster cards: gnome, zombie bomber, dwarf ninja, hype dwarf, armored human, frost zombie. So on each of these, they have health that's dependent upon how many players you have. So if you're playing one true solo, one character, you'll use that. If you're playing with 2 characters, which is my limit, you'll play with like that. Winter Wolf. And then you besides that, you'll also have a lot of like, this has a lot of monsters. A lot of times you'll have events, and then we have boss, Queen of the Ice Elves. So that's who's on the back. Now these all have the same art. So I guess that's how they can afford to make it so nice, is because they are not paying for it time and again for every card. But you will get to see it quite a bit, because as you take damage, it makes you flip over your cards. And so you will get to see your heroes, unfortunately, see your heroes' art. It means that you have been damaged. Turn order. So I'm not going to obviously read you all of these. It's so much. It's be like reading a book. And there's no point in opening them to show you each of them, but I will show you at least the exterior of each of the decks. Okay, so this is the orc wrestler player character. Gauze, the world champion. Okay, that is all hooked together, so that's why that didn't work. Passive, once per round, add 1 combo on up to 1 power that already has 1 or more combo. So the characters have their own special abilities that make them really different to play. And sometimes they're passive and sometimes they're active. Like this one, I believe flip. It's been a little while since I played, but I believe flip means that you have to turn this over. So you can only use this once. Add 1 combo on up to 3 powers that already have 1 or more combo. Okay. So it looks like you can play this demon here. This universe, if I remember correctly, is like it has multiple planes of existence, and so you get all of these different game types and flavors. So here's Durek the Devoted. Looks like an orc cleric. Deal yourself any amount of damage to gain that much divinity. You are unable to unexhaust power for any reason this turn. Or flip. If you have 5 or more divinity, you may flip your roll at the end of the round to become the vessel. So here's how you spend divinity. You can only spend divinity once per turn. 2 divinity to adjust a die to any value. So there's lots of dice mitigation, so you can understand why I really enjoy this. There are powers that allow you to manipulate the dice. 2 divinity, heal yourself 1. 3 divinity, heal 2 damage. So these bigger decks are the enemy decks. You can see there's a ton of cards. There's a lot to read and experience. With these heroes, you'll use 6 powers at a time. So it'll take you a long time to actually see every one of their abilities, even if you don't shuffle it every time. You know, you might have 3 games worth with the same character without ever using the same ability. And if you're doing that with each of your characters, you've got a lot to see. So this is that crab. I don't remember what this mission was called. Undercity Crab. The request for help was sent out as a mental blast to all people in the city. You would notice very faint tremors throughout the day. Murder mystery. There's the ending. Oh, wow. It looks like there are a lot of different mechanisms in this one. Just looking at how different the card is. Morale. Each day you only make a little progress. The killer is incredibly skilled at cleaning up their crime scenes, using diversionary tactics to distract all investigators from making progress. Key clues go missing, red herrings abound, and there's no pattern to the deaths that anyone can discern. This is the work of a truly horrific person, and each day you're trapped in the town reminds you of how helpless you are to stop it. But piece by piece you are slowly honing in on who is depraved enough to cause this death and chaos. So your morale goes down and bad things start happening. Deal each player 1 damage. Deal each player 2 damages. Each player takes +1 damage during the next enemy attack phase. So Luthia Tinkerer. Gain 1 cobble each time you activate an ability. You are immune to replacement effects. If you are forced to replace 2 or more powers at a time, deal yourself 2 damage. Passive. During the player attack phase, you may level up your powers. Show you that art again, trying to keep glare off of it. Maybe I should not be doing this during the day. Sorotin Wind Dancer. Start of each round, flip 1 power to either ground or flight. Flip. Choose a partner. Whenever you and your partner each activate an ability from your own player board, Sorotin makes an attack dealing 2 damage. Solo game. Passive. At the start of each round, flip 1 power to either ground or flight. Each time you activate 2 abilities this round, choose to either deal 2 damage or adjust 1 die up by 1. So that's nice. It's got rules for in case you're the only hero. I realized that we didn't look at the rule book at all, so you have a nice quick play rule here. It's really very simple to use. When you take damage, you flip dice, or you flip your 6 boards. Each card has 2 abilities, one on the top and one on the bottom. You place the dice on them to use them, but it's still very nice and thinky with anticipation of what you will, and then has a lot of anticipation about what you'll face the next time you turn a card over. Okay, so this is just... Did I miss a Kickstarter? It said launching 2024. I'm going to have to check that out. It looks like there are a couple more characters, although I may have enough. I don't know. Because Cyberpunk World, what? See, that's what I'm talking about, because it's got all these different realities. You can fit all sorts of different genres in it. And I find that fun. I used to be in college, I was in a role-playing group, and we used to play Rifts, which basically takes every Palladium book, superheroes, mutants, space sci-fi, and it put them all into one game about plane jumping, and we played that one a lot. I always enjoy those mashups. So you have some very nice dials here. Ooh, they are so cool. Dang. It makes me want to keep them out and use them for other games. I've got all of these trackers, including some plastic ones, and then I printed out these health tracker stands, so you can keep them upright so that they take up even less space. Okay, so each of the hero can use these different dice colors. I've got a ton of dice already in the other box. There were tubes of dice. Now there are ones that have like special markings. I'm going to open up a character and see if they still do this, but they used to use special markings instead of, I can't remember if it was 1 or a 6. Okay, let's take a look at this and see if it still uses the special icons. Some people did complain about readability issue because each of these tends to have a different font, and then the dice have some symbols on it that I think maybe only come with. So here you can see, so it's got the art on that side, and then you see you have 2 sets of these, and so these are your regular dice, and like this means, I think, any dice. And there's one image that means, or maybe that's what means any, and that means 3 matching dice. I think that's what that means. And then you've got your numbered dice. So anyway, you've got, like, you may only use 6 of these, especially because this character can't be forced to replace, which will give you 12 abilities. So it means if you're playing 2 characters, you're actually keeping track of 24 abilities at a time, which is pretty, it's a lot. So I think that you can get they have some custom dice that you could go for, which I didn't, if I remember correctly. Probably should have reviewed the campaign. I think I said that once. But here we are. Camera is rolling, and there's just no way to turn back now. What could I possibly do? Okay, so lots of these dice. I'm going to put these back. Okay, so we will take a look at these real quickly. I think there's a ton to show if we're not going through the cards, which clearly we're not, because it's like several novels worth of reading. Each of those cards has good flavor text on what the abilities mean and how it links to the type of character. Like there's just one corrupted farmer who like attacks with scythes and who has mushrooms sprouting from his body that you can attack with the spores. And then remember, like there's a bunch of those that you're not going to see on one playthrough, and you're probably only going to play the same character maybe, twice in a row. So this one has 2 characters, Flaz and Bog. Is that Bog? Because he looks like a heckin' good boy. What more could a goblin alchemist and his faithful hound want than to spend all day gathering the resources for their concoctions? Well, Flaz's concoctions. Bog just likes to find the ingredients. You can see he's got a little piece of something, fern or something in his mouth. Why testing them on subjects, of course, and this adventuresome duo are more than happy to experiment on the numerous monsters appearing from the corruption spreading across the land. So yeah, like in these plane jumping things, like in any multiversal sort of story, they're just like rifts opening up and chaos happening. So I guess these 2 are pretty happy about the situation, though. Oh, man. Some great art in this game. Here's Catharsis Sagas Christmas and Catharsis Sagas Easter. I wonder if that's in the upcoming campaign. I should be signed up for it so that I get notified. I do really like the look of the cyberpunk, so maybe it's been delayed a little bit. Okay, and then here we have... Okay, so something about the eggs of these strange poultry here. Your most recent lead into the corruption has led you to what appears to be a relatively normal forest. The trees look green, the foliage unspoiled, and there's a fairly important trade route that passes through the center of the forest, albeit a bit winding. However, you've heard from various merchants that the caravans they've sent through the woods have been coming back out with tainted stock and people suffering from hallucinations. like bizarre stories of talking animals and turning into beasts themselves. After all your time hunting corrupted beings, you know that the corruption can manifest in ways that most people would casually dismiss as mad rantings. In this instance, you would have dismissed it, except that you've heard the story multiple times from merchants in the region. So then it sounds like you go on to figure out what's going on with those eggs. And I think that the way I will play these is I think I will play the character intended, like that's packed in with the mission, with that specific mission. It sounds like maybe it'll be a little bit of extra fun. So Flaz and Bog will do a matter of eggs. Chapter 4, Dread. Enter the mind of a dragon. This is a very small operation passion project, and I really wish the good luck to the designer. He's very involved with everything. I mean, game designers seem to basically usually be passionate because they're not searching for riches in the hobbyist board game space. An unusual pairing. So here we have another twosome. An animal researcher and a gravity mage met on an adventure. It was love at first sight, but it definitely took more than a bit for them to figure out exactly how to work together. Their disciplines are radically different, but they were persistent and they found ways to support each other. With more practice, they became a truly powerful adventuring duo. So that's your hero. That describes these two characters. So it's going to be interesting with these duo. I wonder if like the top is one character and the bottom is the other. I'll just take a look. I don't have to guess about that. You may notice that these all have square corners. I think I've mentioned what I think about cardstock with squared corners. I've not yet punched them. Oh, and by the way, the cards have a nice linen finish to them. It's not super heavy cardstock, but they do have a linen finish, which I always like. They have squared corners, which you know that I do not like. So we have George Starweaver and Kendall the Marmotologist. Marmot Toss. Starweave. I can't quite figure out just from looking how the two relate. That's all right. Something to investigate, to learn when playing. That's the cool thing about having such a big box of stuff. Just you can play it just for night after night and be seeing something new for weeks at a time. Here's a little knight facing down this giant dragon creature. Okay, and that dragon is adventure into a dragon's mind. The party has been summoned by a council of mages. These 5 mages create a magitocracy that protects the land, while them and the land's guardian dragon. However, the dragon has been asleep for quite a while, as many of the dangers that dared affect the land were easily handled. But now the corruption from Verity infects the land, and the land needs its draconic protector. It continues to sleep, as though something unnatural stops it from awakening. Even the mage who entered its mind has not been able to wake it, nor has he returned. Cool. Sounds like it'll be a fun one. Once again, I'll play it with the included duo. Okay, so this is the Catharsis Megapack. It has Emberhoof, Booze Maiden. Emberhoof, be me name. Okay, I'm not going to read that in this dialect. Based on stories I hear, they're crazy folk. The more bonkers the story, the better they drink. I be loving the drink myself. No one can out-drink me on a battlefield. She's the Booze Maiden. Enchantress. Ever since my early years, I've always been able to make people do as I wish. Learning magic has just made that easier. Most of the people that I take as servants call me master. The few that are able to rise above their mediocrity and prove their value may call me Suna. And Lumi, the Chiromancer or Cyromancer in the cold, deep north, where ancient whispers ride the winds. I am Lumi, an ice elf who once delved into the darkness of necromancy. Running away from my people, I ventured south, forsaking my immortal life for the embrace of the mortal people. Now, as a devoted healer, I weave a frosty aura around my body to preserve who I am. Few tokens. It looks like these are the 3 characters, maybe all in one pack. Drink and drink rules. The max drinks a player can have is 4. They gain the drink effect on all of their drinks equal to the number of drinks they have. Drinks are not powers. They can never be targeted by effects and abilities from players and enemies. They cannot be removed from the game. So, I don't know where the rules are for using these characters. It has 3 characters, so I guess these are normal characters. Then it has 11 champions to join your hero in the battle against corruption, with 36 duo powers, and 30 bonus tinkerer powers. So I don't know where the oh, well, I do know where the champions are. It's right there. Take a look. I am excited to try that out as a way to get that synergy going, like I said, without as much overhead as playing 2 full characters at a time. So it looks like the champions are just 1 card apiece. Setup. Replace one of your powers with this power. Each time you activate an ability, add a friend counter. When it reaches 10, deal 10 damage. Remove all friend counters on this ability and exhaust its power. These 2 small creatures chase each other in a circle, slowly building magical charge like a wind-up gear. Ribbit Frog and Thunder the Rat. Passive ability. Each time you have an unused dice at the end of the player attack phase, make an attack dealing 1 damage for each such die. That is very useful, because you do end up with dice that you can't use. Okay, these are going to be super fun. So you replace one of your 6 cards, and it gives you access to a champion whose abilities you then get as like a passive ability, always active ability to add to your characters. You start the game with 1 fewer die. This becomes your 7th power. Oh, okay, so on this one you don't remove a power, you actually remove a die. So this one you swap it power for power. This one you remove a die, but you have 7 cards. Each round, if an enemy deals at least 1 damage to you or other players, you prevent 1 of that damage. Gain a champion counter each time you prevent damage from this passive. At 12 champion counters, you die. Lilith, the Puppet Mancer. When you would die, instead, remove this card from the game and choose a new character from the box. Replace your character with the new character and follow the setup for that character as though starting the game. Then discard 2 powers. You only have 5 dice. So it sounds like she uses you as a puppet. Weak fools, this battle is not worthy of me. Still, I'll offer you a goodbye gift, a puppet, your lifeless friend, now dancing to my strings. So, here we have another champion. I'm loving. I'd love the art. Logrim, the Frog Mage. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, these are going to be a ton of fun. This is what I'm most excited with, along with finally having duo powers. Because like I said, I didn't get the duo powers. Oh, and it looks like the Tinker that we saw earlier gets some extra abilities here. So that's cool. Wow, a lot. These seem to be inventions, gauntlets, turrets. And then here are your duo powers. You can see, like, this is for this ice elf. And you have a pairing with each of the characters from this campaign, so that you can play them together. And let's take a look at, like, what their duo is. So I want to take one who I understand a little bit. Let's do the wrestler and the ice elf. Prevent 2 damage to gauze. Deal 4 damage +1 per 2 ice on gauze. Frozen Appreciation. Sacrifice this power. This combat, ice on Gauze's power can be used as combo. Lumi's ice spreads onto Gauze's foes, causing them to roar in pain as she locks them in place. It ain't the love I feel, it's the sounds. So, what you do is, believe you take a power from each of your characters when you play 2 and replace them with one of these. And if I like these, and I find that it doesn't break my brain to try to do this, I'm probably going to have to order the set for the first batch that I have over in the massive box over off camera to be able to duo all of those. Now, I believe that the duoing only happens within the boxes. Like, we only have the cards to duo these characters here. There's no combos with the characters from the previous Kickstarter. And obviously, when the other Kickstarter came out, none of these characters existed, so there's no duo powers for them. But still. Okay, I think we're going to call it there. I'm definitely going to be getting this one to the table quicker, because all I have to do is like a rules refresher. It'll be much less intimidating for me, and I know that I really enjoy this game. So I'm going to be getting it to the table quickly. I'm going to be playing it, coming back to you with a report, with a review of Catharsis as a whole, and of Divine Wrath and things that it adds to the game. So look forward to that. If you are still with me after this huge unboxing, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and keep playing solo.